tree of life is an imaginary tree that keeps its root deep in the reality, and spread its branches high in the heavens so that it connects the man and God, and the world in between. As you can see from the image, 10 cards are spread between the heaven and earth. Each of them represents various power that interacts with the world, and the 22 lines interconnecting the power, symbolize various paths that connects the will of God and our actions. Perhaps, the things that are happening to us, or the actions we act may not be a pure coincidence, but have been stemmed from various powers and wills in the world. Based on the tree of life spread, we can reflect upon the status of our mind and soul, and think about where we should proceed from now on. Therefore, when we read this spread, it would be more useful to think of interactions between the cards, especially based on the lines and triangles interconnecting them, and the 3 main vertical pillars. For example, the uppermost 3 cards, 1 to 3, represents the will of heaven that we cannot perceive physically, the 6 cards below, 4 to 9, represents ourselves in the real world. The final 4 cards, 7 to 10, symbolizes the materialistic and animalistic side of ourselves. In addition, the 3 vertical pillars are Boaz and Jachin, which we have talked about in the High Priestess. Boaz on the left side represents a rather feminine power, while Jachin on the right represents masculine one. We are standing in between them and proceed forward by keeping balance and harmony. In next pages, we will talk about the meanings attached to individual positions. The first word of each description is the Hebrew word that symbolizes the position of original tree of life, and its meaning is written in the parenthesis. 1. Kether, crown. The first card is at the position closest to the heaven, therefore, this card symbolizes the ultimate goal that we aim to achieve, and the highest ideal that we can think of. In some cases, it symbolizes the main cause of the problem we are facing, which cannot be defined as a specific event that is easily perceived by our own eyes. In many cases, it is better to consider the relation between this card and the 2 cards following this. The 3 cards tells you of outside forces and circumstances that are in effect. 2. Chokmah, wisdom. The second card is wisdom. It does not simply mean a common sense, but a wisdom that can create a new conception from nothingness. Unlike being intelligent or creative, it is a power of inspiration that suddenly comes into our life when we are least expecting it. Different from general conception of wisdom, it is a masculine power and a driving force that moves you to a certain direction. Is there an outside force around us that is actively involved in our problem, either positively or negatively? 3. Binah, understanding. The third one is understanding. While the second power gives you the inspiration that can actively create things, this is a power that lays out the concrete course of action that enables you to realize the idea to the end. The first 3 cards at the top of the tree of life are not materialistic powers that we can touch, see, and hear, but the powers that creates and controls the powers that directly influences us. Therefore, the 3 cards represents the condition that governs our current situation. What are the influences that are related to us? 4. Chesed, mercy. The cards we see from now on are the powers of the materialistic words that we can see and hear. In other words, they are the powers that directly influences us. The first of them, mercy, is not a simple conception or inspiration, but the law and regulation that constructs the world upon it. It is a masculine card that symbolizes stable structure. At the same time, it symbolizes love and kindness as well. Remember that the law governing the world is not a merciless logic, but is based upon warm hearts. Now is the time to turn our eyes from the surroundings and to ourselves. What do the rules and love mean to you? 5. Geburah, strength. The next card represents strength. Rule or law may show a blueprint of the world, but you need a power to actually move the world. This card represents the power to judge and act based on the laws of the 4th card. Of course, as is the case with strength of major arcana, the strength is not only physical but mental as well. Do you have will to move into action based upon your belief? Do you have the power to realize your thoughts? 6. Tiphareth, beauty. The card, located at the middle of the spread, is acting as a mediator that relays the will of the heaven to earth. The sixth card is connected directly to all the surrounding powers that it represents the harmony between different powers. In addition, it symbolizes the beauty out of such balance. Therefore, when you read this card, you also need to look at the cards surrounding it, and think whether you and your environment are in harmony, your thoughts and actions are aligned in the same direction. Are you by any chance looking at only one side of the problem? 7. Netzach, victory. Although this card is named the victory, it also represents quite an unstable situation. The card is biased toward reality, and is lopsided toward the right as well. The victory here does not mean the ultimate success in life, but rather a materialistic and instant one. Such a victory can be a driving force that moves us and make our life prosper. At the same time, however, you should consider whether you are not seduced to the beauty of victory at hand, that you are missing something more important. 8. Yesod, Splendor. To keep the victory sustainable, you should not rely on the outer beauty alone. In order to make the honor last, you need to prepare yourself logically and thoroughly. The eighth card is the logical next step of the third and fifth card. You design the structure of the world, move into action, and then you need to put diligent effort based on the design and your previous actions. Splendor, as the name suggests, cannot be attained by a momentary luck, but it should be built on the basis of wide knowledge, and through rich communication with various parties. 9. Yesod, foundation. Now we are almost at the final step before we come to realize our own existence. While the sixth card at the center represents the ideal superego that we need to pursue, this card symbolizes the ego in reality, which becomes the basis of our action. This card, however, is not directly connected to the rules or strength represented by fourth and fifth cards, but is based on the victory and splendor that seduces us. Therefore, we should try not to be swayed by the illusion that the success and splendor creates, but try to make a stable and strong foundation upon which we can proceed toward our superego. 10. Malkuth, kingdom. The last card represents our most materialistic and earthly self. This card is the final result created by the interaction of various powers we have seen so far. Therefore, this final card concludes the series of events that we have walked along. By looking back upon the procedure starting from various powers and circumstances to this result, we will be able to comprehend the problem at hand more deeply, think about what can be expected from the path we have treaded on, and consider what would be the best course of action we should take from now on.